We're going to be making some lining for inside this tote bag. This is just a standard tote bag with a square boxed out bottom, and it's got a PU base on it which I've lightly quilted with a crosshatch. So we've got the outside shell completed. Now we want to make the lining to go on the inside. So we need to measure our lining. So I used one of the outside panels as our lining template or pattern. And so that is the same shape as the base, including the fold of the seam at the bottom. And we've actually added a seam at the bottom so we can turn it out. I've got some indicators of where the pockets are going to go on the inside, the zip pockets. And at the base, we're going to eventually sew around the outside edge and leave a hole on the bottom to actually pull the work through when the tote bag is complete. Let's start off by putting a pocket in. Now we don't want the pocket too deep down into the bag because you don't want to be scrambling around too far into the bag. By the same token, it needs to be high enough for it to be practical without encroaching on the actual shaped bottom of the bag. So we've come down about 6 to 6.5 inches. Find the midpoint. I'm just going to crease that light with my finger, and then we're going to measure out about 4.5 inches. We're going to make a 9-inch pocket. It can be 8-inch, 9-inch, but depending on what you want. You don't want the pocket to be too small. You don't want it to be too big. It's just really depending on what you want to put in it. But generally, you want to be able to load it up a little bit. So we have got a strip of fabric. We've got our zip and we have our pocket bag. Very simple. So we need to transfer our markings from the inside to the outside. Now I've got a piece of interfacing behind this pocket to give the fabric a little bit of fortitude so the pocket doesn't rip out. You want a little bit of reinforcement because pockets get a hard life. So I'm just making a mark at the base of these pins I've poked through. I'm just going to make a crosshatch or a dot. I'm just using a bow and chalk pencil to apply the markings. Are nice and fine and easy to actually remove with the eraser at the end of the pencil. Just going to measure halfway through. This strip is about 1.5 inches wide. So we'll make a centre line which is 3/4 of an inch up, just making sure that we've got that in the right place. And then we want to measure our goalpost ends at 9 inches. So 9 inches there, 9 inches there. That's where we're going to be turning our square. So we want to apply this piece of this line on top of line. We can either pin it or we can use washi tape to actually attach the strip of fabric, which is going to be faced out. It's going to give us what we call our letterbox opening. We're going to be making a narrow, long rectangle, just wide enough for our zip to poke through. So altogether, we're going to sew 1/4 inch down one side. Excuse the hand, 1/4 inch down one side. Just using a 1/4 inch foot, using the marking as a guide. Stop at that last mark there. Turn our work 5 stitches. Oops, that was 6. Is that too much? No, that's all right. 3 and 3. I usually use a size 2 stitch when I'm sewing. So a little bit smaller than standard, just 1 notch smaller. I've put some reinforcement on this strip as well, just a piece of interfacing with washi tape For those people that say that washi tape doesn't stick to things, and look at that. So our washi tape is quite nice. It doesn't matter that's come off in the middle. It really makes no difference. So we want to slash up this line, stopping about 3/8, 1 centimetre from the end, or just a little bit less, and then clipping into that last stitch in the corner. Need sharp scissors, sharp points. If you don't clip into that corner, you do not get a nice square. So don't be shy, but by the same token, don't cut past it. So you need good light and good blade points. So the most difficult thing about this is actually just really turning this through. And when I say turning this through, trying to make sure that when you turn this through, it doesn't show on the outside. So I often iron my sides from the right side in. And you can see I'm doing the ends first. Some people like to try and iron that seam open. I don't find it necessary should you, for the style of pocket, I don't find that necessary. For the slash pocket sometimes, yes. For the double welted, yes, but not always for this way. So come through the back. Now, to get a nice corner, pinch the corner between 2 thumbs and 4 fingers and just almost as if you're going to be ripping it. Just pinch and manipulate forward and back like this, and what it does is that it releases those last few fibres in that corner and makes the corner quite square and presentable. This was a tailoring technique I got taught when I was an apprentice, and I've always remembered it, especially for making bound buttonholes, because we did a lot of those. So I press as much as I can from the right side before moving the work to the back. Yeah, it's looking nice and square. The idea is not to see the fabric. That's why I've chosen a contrast fabric. The idea is not to see that from the front. This is the foundation for making many styles of pockets. The reason why I call this the letterbox opening is because it does look like a letterbox before you put the zip into it. Okay, there we go. Let's give one more light press. Plenty of steam. There we have it. Ready. See, nice and clean. Ready for our zip to go in behind it. Now remember, when you're looking at a pocket, a closed zip is always at the left side of the pocket. Closed zip is always at the left side of the pocket. Now let me just move that up so you can have a better view. I keep that even. I'm going to put some washi tape on this to hold this, because it is the easiest way. Now I do sometimes use it on the back as well, to keep my zip into place. Right, and now we want to top stitch around this letterbox opening to secure the zip to the pocket. So I'm just using my standard J foot, my standard universal foot, and I've got the needle swung over to the left hand side of the foot, and the edge of the foot is running along the teeth of the zip. So to keep it nice and straight. And once I get to the zipper itself, I need to just run that up. And that's just the way it is. I mean, you can't avoid doing that. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. It's inside the bag. Practice makes perfect. This looks like it's not even, but when you turn the work around, it actually is. And there we go. I did end up taking the washi tape off the bag because it was catching on to the extension table. Now we want to put the pocket bag right side down, and we're going to start with the bottom lip of the zipper. So this is the bottom of this will be the back side of the pocket. Now pin it by all means. I mean, I'm a trained machinist, so I don't use pins very much. So you can either use the edge of the foot, or you can run the foot on top of the zip, whichever you wish to do. And I sometimes do this seam twice. I get it into place so as it works. Open that zip, run that zip up. And I mean, so that's a shy 1/4 inch seam, but it's quite secure for a pocket, it really is. But I sometimes do that seam twice if I want to make it even more secure. Then you just fold this pocket up and attach it to the top edge of your opening, which is now secured. And again, pin it. And I'm trying to stitch as close to the original row of stitching as I can. So you shift your needle and then shift your foot across slightly, you'll see it. So I'm just on that edge of that the cut. You see the stitching past the foot. I'm actually on the tape, on the actual pocket bag itself. There we go. So that's the top and bottom done. Looks so professional. And you've got a nice secure pocket that if your bag falls over and the zip is closed, things aren't going to fall out of it. And it's also nice to actually keep some things out away from prying eyes. And we're just going to face down, stitch just a 1/2 inch seam. Corners will be round, because round corners last longer when it comes to pockets. Even on garments, round corners last longer. Nothing pokes into the corners and makes holes. And then just come up to the inside edge, reverse, and you have done a pocket. It's very simple using washi tape, no pins. But by the same token, use pins if you want to, it does not matter. But there we have a lovely finished pocket, so professional. So that's one side for the lining. On the other side, we're going to do another different technique. But as you can see, it's not too far down from the top. It's not too far down into the bottom. And because there will be a base, you don't want it hitting the bottom of the bag. Very cute. You don't have to trim off the corners or anything. It's all done. Just leave it as it is. Okay. Have a go. And don't forget curved corners.